All right, welcome back to the latest edition of the Bullpen with Adam the Bull, and we're joined as we are every other week by Mary Kay Cabot, Cleveland.com. And Mary Kay, how are you today?
I'm doing great. How you doing?
I'm excellent and ready for the Thanksgiving holiday. Are you having a big get-together for Thanksgiving, the family coming into town?
Yes, but
Yeah.
I have gotten to this point in my life with never having made a turkey. I've never made a turkey.
Okay.
Yeah, I've never made a turkey, and I'm not making one on Thanksgiving this year either. We are ordering the whole shebang.
Yeah.
And here I am, not making a turkey again.
I like that. You know what we have started doing the last couple of years is, like last year we ordered actually barbecue and had that instead. This year, I mean, we've done this before. My wife is making a prime rib.
Ooh.
And then we're getting some turkey and fixins from Giant Eagle. They put together some platters that are really nice. Not Giant Eagle, Whole Foods, I mean.
Yes.
And they put together some nice platters. So, yeah. Listen, you do Thanksgiving however you do Thanksgiving, right?
That's right. And I never have time. I would not, it takes
Exactly.
a long time to put on that Thanksgiving dinner, which my 94-year-old mom has done her whole entire life.
Wow.
And I just don't have that kind of time. I probably will be working late on Wednesday night, and then I'll be waking up trying to write something on Thursday. So it's never happened. And I kind of have a goal to go through my whole entire life without ever making
I like that. I like that goal. I think, maybe if they move Thanksgiving to a different time of the year where it's not football season, I don't know. But anyway, let's get to it. Of course, the podcast today brought to you by Bet Rivers. Bet Rivers players who place a same-game parlay of at least $10 on NFL or NCAA football games will receive an entry into the weekly Squares game. Winning Squares can earn up to a $50 bonus bet per entry. See the Bet Rivers app or website for more details. It's happening, Mary Kay. Shedeur Sanders, as you broke the news yesterday, is officially going to be the starter this week for the first time in his NFL career. Obviously, there's excitement all over the country. I'm expecting to see a lot of Browns fans, a lot of Shedeur Sanders fans in Vegas this Sunday. What are your expectations for him in his first start?
Well, I think that the Browns are going to devise a game plan for Shedeur Sanders that he feels really comfortable with. I think they're going to dial it back. I don't think he will have as much of the playbook at his disposal as Dillon Gabriel did. And they have to tweak it and change some things up. Shedeur Sanders is not a mobile quarterback. They will be able to roll him out and do the bootlegs and some of the things that you see in this kind of Kevin Stefanski offense. But you're not going to see the called runs and some of those kind of things, and maybe the RPOs that you would see with the Dillon Gabriel offense. So that will be the first thing to watch. They're going to dial that back. And then I think you might even see a couple of his hungry dog friends get more of an opportunity. He feels comfortable with those guys.
Right.
And if they need to throw a Caden Davis out there, remember he threw 2 touchdown passes to Caden Davis. He was cut this week, but I think, he should probably end up coming back onto the practice squad and then probably getting elevated again. But he caught those 2 touchdown passes in the preseason from Shedeur, and those guys have a nice connection. Gage, I mean, my feeling about a starting quarterback is, can he win the game in the 2-minute drill in the end if called upon? And I thought Shedeur did what he needed to do. He put the ball into the hands of Gage Larvidan at the end of that football game. And of course, it was broken up. But I thought Shedeur, for the most part, did his part there. And I thought that was a really, really good sign. So we'll have to see how it goes. But I think he's going to find some completions. The thing that I see every day is his elite accuracy. He can fit the ball into some tight windows, and he has really, really nice ball placement, ball speed, nice touch on the ball. And that can go a long way when you're down there in the red zone and in the end zone.
And clearly, Dillon Gabriel was not wanting to throw the ball downfield, or, obviously the offensive line is part of that problem. But we saw Shedeur Sanders seemed like he was unafraid to throw the ball downfield, for good or bad. I mean, he was throwing the ball, and I think potentially that could open things up in the running game for Quinshon Judkins, which the Browns need to be effective. What do you think about that?
Well, yeah, he's very, very confident. So he's a very confident young man. And once again, he is so confident in himself because I think he knows that he can thread that needle. He can put it on the money. He's really good at that. And I've heard that when he's running the scout team, that he has dazzled teammates and coaches almost on a daily basis with some of those throws. Now, of course, you have to put it all together in the game because there's a whole lot more than just, going out and running the scout team when you're in a football game and you've got Max Crosby bearing down on you. And these guys are going to blitz him and they're going to make it really difficult on him. They're going to watch that tape and they're going to know exactly what went wrong for him. And then the other thing I don't think anybody is talking about is the fact that I have to go back and look, but I'm pretty sure that the Raiders brought him in for a visit, a top 30 visit, and had him on their whiteboard. And I think they probably have a pretty good idea of what he's capable of from understanding defenses and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
So they might try to take advantage of that situation a little bit and really try to get him off his mark and rattled and confused. So the Browns are going to have to give him some nice outlet passes. They're going to have to give him things that he feels comfortable with, throw out the things that he doesn't feel confident with. And I think he's going to make some mistakes, but he has to play within himself. Sure, you can take some shots downfield, but you cannot try to be legendary in your first start. Do not try to do too much and prove to the world that you should not have fallen to the 5th round.
It's a good point. You can't change people's minds with one game or one throw. It's being consistent, being steady. Take your chances, sure, but if you try to change minds on every throw, you're going to make too many mistakes. There's no doubt about it, especially when, as you alluded to, we saw the Ravens blitzing him a lot. And, obviously he's had the issue with running backwards, which is not going to fly in the NFL. And even though the Raiders generally are not a big blitzing team, I expect every team to blitz him a lot going forward. Do you think that's the case?
Yes, absolutely. They're going to try to give him all that he can handle. And the thing about the Browns right now is they have 2 tackles who were limited in practice yesterday with knee injuries. And then you had David Njoku, who really helps out in the blocking game, who missed yesterday's practice with a knee injury. So you're going to have to really be on point with your chipping help and with picking up those blitzes. The backs are going to have to be on point. The receiver, everybody's going to have to pitch in and try to make sure that Shedeur Sanders stays upright, because he does have a tendency to hold the ball and to take those sacks. So got to get rid of it quickly. He's going to have to live to see another play. He's going to have to throw it away sometimes and just not try to do more than just his job. Right. He can't solve the problems of this sort of dysfunctional offense in one game.
That's completely fair and completely right. To me, I would play him the rest of the year either way. I know Kevin Stefanski said Dylan Gabriel would go back in there if he's healthy. If Shedeur Sanders plays just a good, solid game, not like you said, I'm not looking for him to throw 300 yards and 3 touchdowns, but if he plays a good, solid game and the Browns beat the Raiders, do you think he will be the starter again next week, or do you think Dylan Gabriel, if cleared, will be back in there?
Well, here, first of all, let's clarify the whole Dylan Gabriel will be back in there when he's healthy, because I actually sought to clarify this with Kevin.
Okay, good.
Monday, I asked him, I said, when you said Dylan would play if he was cleared, I said, were you just talking about the Raiders game? Yeah. And he actually did say, I'm not looking beyond this week.
Interesting.
So okay. I think that's important.
Yeah, it is very important. Yeah.
Right. Dylan was supposed to play this week if he cleared, which they knew he wasn't going to.
Right.
Now, if Shedeur goes out and builds on what he did against the Ravens, I think it's time to leave him in there and let him get a little continuity and let Dylan really heal from the concussion. I don't know if they'll approach it this way, but this is what I would do. If he shows significant improvement in this game, and I think he will, he is taking his first snaps with the first team in practice this week, and they're designing a game plan just for him. So under those conditions, I think he's going to look better as long as he doesn't turn the ball over 4 times, right? If he just stays within himself and shows improvement, then I think he needs to build on what he has done in the first 2 games. So that's my feeling on that. I don't know if they'll do that, but I also want to say this, that I would not hesitate at some point to go back to Dylan Gabriel because they were just starting to see what he was going to be able to do with Tommy Rees calling the plays. Now, I don't know if he'll ever get that chance again in these final 7 games, but I think he does deserve that chance because I think he was starting to show some things. And he does have, again, the mobility and some of the things that they like to run in this offense, the RPOs and the keepers and all that stuff. And Shedeur doesn't really play that style of football. So, there's so many different ways to look at this, but I would give Shedeur the time to go in there and really develop a little bit, even if it's 4 more games or something, or 5 games, and then you let Dylan come back in for a couple.
Do you think Kevin Stefanski and Andrew Berry's jobs are on the line in these last 7 games?
I don't really think so. One thing that I do know is that Andrew Berry and the personnel staff, they've been all over the country trying to identify which of these quarterbacks could be their franchise quarterback in this draft. So I just don't see them parting ways with Andrew when he has invested so much time into these first-round picks that they have in April. So I highly doubt that would happen. As far as Kevin is concerned, I think as long as the team continues to play hard, shows good organization, and develops and shows a lot of things, and shows that the future is bright with some of these players, which I think it is, then maybe he will have that opportunity to see it through. It's very hard for a head coach to win football games with these rookie quarterbacks, especially a 3rd-round pick and a 5th-round pick. It's very difficult. So they just have to decide, do they think that Kevin is that CEO coach that can run the whole operation for them effectively, especially now that they have Tommy calling the plays? They might like that combination now with Tommy, who has been described as an offensive savant. So they might be okay with that going forward, depending on what happens at quarterback.
I know we talked about this a little early in the week, but I just wanted to bring it up again. Obviously, Myles Garrett's having a magnificent season. There's a chance. I guess there's a chance he won't win the Defensive Player of the Year because the Browns are so bad, which I think is stupid, especially with the season he's having. But we got a long way to go. You think he's going to break the record, 22.5 sacks? He needs 8 in 7 games. You think he's going to get it?
Yes, I absolutely think that he's going to get it. And I think the Browns will help see to it that he gets it, because you can move him around and do certain things to make sure that you're taking advantage of the weaker link on the offensive line. And you can get sacks out of Myles Garrett when you need them. And I definitely think they will do that. I mean, he could have 4 sacks this weekend. I mean, these guys have a very weak offensive line. And I think that the Browns are going to do everything in their power to help Myles get that sack title. And I think it'll just be one of the bright spots that comes out of this season. So I would look for that. And I don't even think it's going to take all 7 games.
By the way, I was thinking ahead, and there's a chance Joe Burrow is going to play this week sooner than expected. And I was thinking to myself, like, unless it's when the Bengals play the Browns the last week of the season, if I'm the Bengals, unless I have a chance to make the playoffs that last week, which is highly unlikely, I'm not playing Joe Burrow that game. If Myles Garrett's going for the sack record, there's no way. I'll play Flacco. I'll play Browning. There's no way I'm taking a chance of him getting hurt, because we know Myles Garrett kills the Bengals. You've been covering the Browns as long as anybody, Mary Kay. Have you ever seen anybody at any position? I know it's hard to compare positions, but have you ever seen anybody at any position play at a higher level than Myles Garrett is playing right now?
No.
Yeah.
I mean, the only person that I could say, and it's so much harder to grade an offensive lineman, would be Joe Thomas.
Sure.
To do what he did all of those years was remarkable, and to do it under those conditions, and to do it when other teams were able to tee off on you. I really do think that you could obviously put Hall of Famer Joe Thomas into that category, but it's much easier to look out there and see the destruction and the havoc that Myles Garrett creates out there on the football field. And no, I really haven't seen anything like it from a defensive player, or really an offensive player either, except for Joe. So it's been magnificent to watch. And I always thought in previous years that Myles was leaving meat on the bone, and he's not doing that this year.
That's right.
He's always tailed off at the end. He's always run out of steam. That's not happening. He's playing better than ever. And it is a sight to behold.
It really is. I hope he finishes strong. December's been a struggle for him at times with injuries. And I'm with you. I think he's going to get 23, 24. I would be surprised if he had 25 sacks.
Yeah, he's on pace for 25.5, I think.
Yeah, I mean, it's just crazy. Mary Kay, great stuff as always. Thank you for joining me.
Sure. Thanks for having me.
All right, that's going to do it for this episode of The Bullpen with Adam the Bull. Great to talk with Mary Kay Cabot. Brought to you by Bet Rivers. Thanks to Alex and Z for producing today. We'll talk to you next time in The Bullpen.